5 simple, unassuming characters, a string of hash marks just kind of floating in the void. Before a single letter is even formed, before a thought is fully articulated into actual language, there's syntax. There's this structure just waiting in the dark. What we're dealing with right off the bat is the skeletal framework of an idea that hasn't quite arrived yet. It's really the digital equivalent of a drawn breath right before speaking.
Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving straight into the architecture of a blank page. We're going to take an incredibly brief, seemingly empty piece of source material and, well, forensically unpack its hidden implications.
We're exploring the absolute limits of digital minimalism today. We aren't analyzing some massive data set or a sprawling manifesto. Nope. Instead, we're looking at the actual genesis point of a document. And here it is. This brilliantly illustrates our entire universe for today's explainer. I want you to read it with me. Excerpts from New Note, followed by #New Note. That's it. That is the whole document. It's shockingly, almost defiantly brief. But seriously, don't look away just yet. Because in these few dozen characters, we've got a title, context, formatting, and honestly, a deeply mysterious framing device. Let's break this down, piece by piece. Now, what's really fascinating here is the very first word of our source material, excerpts. Notice the S at the end there? It's plural. And this single word completely changes our relationship with the text that follows. An excerpt by definition is a short extract from a piece of writing. It implies curation, right? It implies that someone, or something, went into a much larger body of work, evaluated it, and deliberately pulled out this specific fragment to present to us. By literally calling this an excerpt, the source material is right off the bat admitting that it's incomplete. Which, of course, immediately forces us to ask this absolutely critical question. If this is an excerpt, what on earth was left behind? We're basically looking at the tip of an iceberg, but we have absolutely no idea how deep the ice actually goes. What was the rest of this new note? Was it a grocery list? A groundbreaking mathematical proof? Maybe a deeply personal journal entry? The word excerpts casts this massive invisible shadow over our tiny fragment. We're kind of forced to sit here and ponder the negative space, the phantom text that we just aren't allowed to see. Notice the visual shift happening here. On one side, we have the plain text, right? The contextual framing, new note. But then, on the other side, we have the exact same words, but they've undergone this sudden, aggressive technical transformation. They've been injected with the markdown string, ####. The words themselves haven't changed at all, but their structural reality totally has. It's like this sudden intrusion of formatting into a previously plain text environment. It's literally the exact moment the idea becomes subjected to a digital system. To really wrap our heads around this, we need to take a literal inventory. Think of this as the anatomical breakdown of our source. We have precisely one title context, which frames the entire situation. We have exactly one markdown string establishing the digital rules. And we have exactly two words acting as the actual meat of the body. That is the complete, literal, mathematical equation of our material. It is highly, highly structured. There's zero accident here. When you only have a few characters to work with, every single keystroke matters, a lot. So the absolutely crucial point here is this number, 5. I want to isolate this because, frankly, it's the most bizarre and intriguing architectural choice in the whole document. Our author didn't just use one hash mark, they didn't use 2 or 3, they deliberately typed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hash marks. In the fast-paced world of digital note-taking, hitting a key 5 times, that requires serious intentionality. It's a highly specific, very deliberate formatting choice that just completely upends the hierarchy of the blank page.
Now, for those of you who might not, dream in markdown language, let's clarify exactly what this syntax actually does. 5 hash marks placed before a line of text creates a level 5 heading. It doesn't just make the text bold or italicized, it assigns it a very specific, deeply nested place within a structural hierarchy. A level 1 heading is your main title. Level 2 is a major section. So by the time you get all the way down to level 5, you are deep in the weeds. You're looking at a subsection of a subsection of a subsection. Which obviously brings us to a frankly baffling architectural mystery. Why a level 5 heading? Where in the world are levels 1 through 4? Just think about the psychology behind this for a second. Starting a fresh excerpted note at level 5 is incredibly counterintuitive. It almost implies that this new note already exists underneath some massive pre-existing structure that we just can't see. Or, hey, maybe it represents a chaotic defiance of digital order, like a user who just held down the hash key until it kind of felt right. Either way, it builds this massive sense of unseen depth. All right,
Let's strip all that formatting away. Let's peel back the markdown, peel back the mystery of the missing text, and focus solely on the very first word of our actual payload, new. This right here is the concept of pure Genesis. It's the reality of the blank page. It represents absolute potential. It's unspoiled data. The very second you label something new, you're establishing a starting line. You're declaring to the world that whatever comes next has never existed before in this exact configuration.
And what exactly is that new thing? Well, it's a note. We transition immediately from this abstract concept of potential to a literal, tangible, digital artifact. A note is basically a container. It's a vessel designed to hold a memory, or maybe to catch a fleeting thought before it completely vanishes. But right now, this container is entirely unwritten. It's got a name, it's got a complex, nested heading level, but it has absolutely no soul yet. No narrative, no substantive content. It is just a beautifully constructed, deeply formatted, empty box.
And honestly, this brilliantly illustrates the ultimate irony of our source material. Notice the meta-marrying happening here. The contextual title of the document is New Note. The literal excerpted text inside the document is New Note. The minimalist text mirrors itself perfectly. It's a total recursive loop. The document is simply announcing its own existence to itself in an empty room. It's literally the digital equivalent of standing in front of a mirror and saying your own name out loud just to make absolutely sure you're still there. So let's quickly summarize the incredibly rapid life cycle of these few keystrokes. First, it starts with the title designation, naming the void. Then comes the excerpt extraction, the mysterious curation of this specific moment. Next, the level 5 formatting applies this sudden, deep structural gravity to the text. And finally, the final echo, where the document just simply repeats its own name back to us. Even in the absolute bare minimum state of digital existence, we can clearly see a structured narrative journey taking place. We've analyzed the architecture, we've questioned the missing context, we've even uncovered the deep hierarchy hiding in 5 simple hash marks. But as we wrap up this explainer today, I want you to consider the blank space. The framework is built, the heading is set, the note is officially new, but what actually comes next? When you encounter your own blank pages, what structures are you unknowingly bringing with you before you even type the very first word? Think about that the next time you open a new document. Until next time, keep exploring.